We're back on the record in 2022 CR 11923C. Can I have parties re-announced, please?
Daniel Escobar for the state.
Matthew Allen for the defense.
All right. And are you Mr. Mendoza Perez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The court has found that the state is in compliance with discovery. The defendant filed an application for deferred adjudication. I'm going to show you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Judge, we're proceeding on count 1 and waiving count 2.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with aggravated kidnapping? That's a first-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 9 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you understand that the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you, oh, you guys are both moving at the same time. Court could find you guilty and sentence you up to life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pettis, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial, showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 1. There's a $1,500 fine. They recommend deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration grand jury number 785512, JN number 2096684, and you are to admit that you acted in concert or together with Angel Anthony Rivera, Pedro Jesus Alonso, and Gilbert Gonzalez Jr. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes,
Showing
Your
you the
Honor.
paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal paragraph. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the plea bargain agreement, the state is recommending that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 8 years. Did you understand that's what recommendations from the state, and the court does not have to follow that recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to count 1, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State any evidence?
State offer states exhibit 1 in all attachments.
No objections.
All right. And state, is the complainant aware of this agreement?
Judge, we've made attempts to reach out to the complainant, but so far I believe they've been unsuccessful.
All right, thank you. Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Just that his family is here to support him inside the courtroom and outside. He does have a young child, but also his pastor is here. Since he's been released on bond, I think he's completed about 150 to 200 hours of schooling to be a barber. He's continuing to do that. We think that he's on track to continue what he's done while he's been on bond, and we would just ask the court to follow the plea bargain.
How old is your child?
He's 6 months.
How would you feel if somebody were to take your 6-month-old child and the mother of your child, and maybe who's out here outside for you?
My mom
Your mom? Who else is here supporting you?
and my pastor.
And your pastor. How would you feel if somebody were to take your 6-month-old, the mother of the 6-month-old, and your mom, take them because they're here illegally, and hide them from place to place because they're trying to get here to have a better life for themselves and take care of their family, and demand $800 from them? How would you feel about that? I'm sorry, what?
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, and that's what you did. And now you have this criminal charge, and now you have a 6-month-old who has a father who has done something horrible, who has a criminal case now. I'm going to tell you what I tell all people, and I don't know why people don't understand that. You cannot build your happiness off somebody else's misery. And that's what you were doing by demanding $800 from these people who probably have no money. You understand? And if you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be? You're getting drug tested today. What is it going to come back for?
I'll be clean.
All right. Have you used anything?
No.
All right. We're going to do a drug test today. It's going to be a $1,500 fine, probated. Take in consideration grand jury number 785512, JN number 2096684. You to admit that you acted in concert with Angel, Anthony Rivera, Pedro Jesus Alonso, Gilbert Gonzalez Jr. 8 years deferred adjudication. Probation, is there? Probation's not here. Oh, I can't see you with my glasses off. All right. Is there any community service hours that he can do where he's passing out food or something to people who are in need so he can learn that you can't be building your happiness off somebody else's misery? All right. It's going to be 200 hours community service restitution, and I'm not waiving that. You got to do parenting classes with parenting raindrops to rainbows, proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors, regular UAs, regular reporting by Zoom or in person, field visits, one time per month until further notice, and probation, when probation feels that they don't need to do field visits anymore, just send me a form and I'll review it. There's to be, oh, did you take $800 for them? Did anybody ever get their $800 that they were demanding?
No.
If I could, I would just make you pay $800 to somebody. There's to be no contact with the complainant in this case, Benito Lopez. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, yeah.
All right, we can go off the record. You're going to have to start making better decisions. And from here on out, anything that you do in this case, you're going to have to ask yourself, is this a decision that could potentially result in me going to prison for life? If the answer is yes, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, don't do it. And because you have a 6-month-old, you want that 6-month-old to be proud to tell everybody, that's my dad. You understand? So from here on out, everything that you do, you should be trying to make your 6-month-old proud that he's lucky enough to have you as a father. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You are on deferred adjudication. Do you realize that? All right, you're mumbling. I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what's your range of punishment? If a motion to revoke were filed, and if you were sentenced to prison, how much time could you be sentenced to?
1 year.
No. Higher. How much time could you be sentenced to?
I don't know.
Life. Let that sink in. The whole thing about you could be sentenced up to a $10,000 fine. When you balance that against the life sentence, the $10,000, you're like, maybe you're not worried about that, but you could go to prison for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
And what I'm being told is that you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you have made zero progress on your probation. And you've been on probation since May of 2023. So you've been on probation for a year and you have done nothing. Do you want to go to prison? Because if you want to go to prison, what you can do is you can get an attorney here and you can talk. I believe this is maybe a criminal trial division case. Your attorney can negotiate with them for a revocation and they can present it to the court for the amount of time you want to do in prison. I can follow it or not follow it because this is a contract with the court, not with whoever, whichever attorney you hire or the state. How old are you?
18,
I'm sorry, what?
18.
All right, so you're 18. You do the math about how much time they would probably have you do at the prison. There are usually rules saying, hey, when you consider sentencing somebody, if you go to jury trial, you can consider that there's a parole law out there, but you can't determine or try to think, I wonder what parole will do, because nobody knows what parole will do. Maybe you'll be paroled, maybe not. But what I can tell you is whatever time you're sentenced to, you have to do half the time. So you're 18. Let's say you get sentenced to 30 years. You have to do 15 years flat. So you do the math, 18 plus 15. And then I can guarantee you, even though I'm not supposed to do that, I can guarantee you that when your parole comes up, they're not going to let you out on the first try. So you need to decide, do you want to go to prison? Because what you're telling me by your actions is you do. And if you want to go to prison, guess what? I will tell you, the government, they always say they don't have money for certain things. They always have money to build another prison. They always have space for you at the prison, whether they have space or not. They're fine. If a cell says there's only supposed to be 3 people in this cell, they're fine with putting an extra person in there. So if you want to go to prison, I will send you to prison. I won't gladly send you to prison, but I'll send you to prison. I remember an 18-year-old went to prison, and I'll move on to my next case. So would you like to go to prison?
Yeah.
Then why are you behaving as though you want to go to prison?
I haven't got time.
Hmm?
My job doesn't give me time to follow my rules.
Okay, you're mumbling and I cannot hear you.
My job doesn't let me follow.
All right, it's funny you should say that because in the report I have, it says probationer has also made no attempt to work on his community service hours, no attempt to really do his drug testing, no attempt to sign up for the classes he's supposed to sign up for. So then you have a question. You're 18, and I'm sure you're not living by yourself. Who do you live with?
No, my fiance and my son.
All right, so you have a question. Your question is, do you want to go to prison? If you end up going to prison, you won't have a job. I mean, they may make you make things at the prison if you want to, but you won't have a real job. And I know people come to me, and you know what people come to me and say, why are you being so hard on him? They're trying to get it together. They're working. Here's the problem. You're on probation. Other people who did not break the law don't have to worry about reporting to probation and how it impacts their employment. You're on probation. If you just decide to do what you want to do, then guess what? You're not on probation. And I tell you what, I see here that you were approved for traveling. Look, he has requested to travel to Florida for a family trip, June 26th through July 1st to Kissimmee, Florida. You didn't have any problem with your employment then. You sure made time to go traveling to Florida, but you can't make time to do your community service. You can't make time to do any of your classes, but you can make time to go to Florida with family. I always say if it's important, you treat it like it's important. Maybe this probation is not important to you. If it's not, then you can go to prison. So I'm telling you right now, yes, you are required to have employment while you're on probation. You have a child. You decided to have a child. Nobody forced you to engage in activities that resulted in a child. You have to take care of your child financially. According to your conditions of probation, you have to support all your dependents. I don't know why you're an 18-year-old. I don't know how old the girl is that you're dating or you have a baby with. I don't know why her parents are letting you all live at the house. Maybe they're just doing it because they're concerned about their grandchild. But you're on probation. One of the conditions of probation that's mandated by the law is you have to take care of your dependents. So you got to have a job to take care of your dependents. I require you to have a job. But if that job is interfering with your ability to do your conditions of probation, then you need to get another job. Or either you need to work the graveyard shift. Nobody likes working the graveyard shift, but you have to do what you have to do. And I would tell my clients all the time, you have a choice. When I was a defense attorney, they'd be like, I have a job. You know what I would tell them? You have a choice. If you get sent to prison, guess what? You're not going to be working that job, and that employer is not going to hold it off to you. So you have choices you have to make. You're in an adult world. You've done adult things by having a child, adult things by committing this offense, and you're on adult probation. So I'm telling you right now, you're going to start that class. You're going to start doing your community service hours, and you're going to regularly do your UAs. We're not having another conversation about your issues with employment, because guess what? These are the times that these classes are open. It's in the daytime. It's not in the nighttime. So you probably need to get a job that is graveyard shift or either the middle shift, 3 to 11. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything you do not understand?
No, ma'am.
And what do you do for employment?
I work at a barber shop.
Oh, yeah. You need to do the overnight shift, or either, guess what? You can work on Saturdays and Sundays at the barber.
Yes, ma'am.
Probation, is there anything else? All right, next time I see you, if I get a report like this, the next time I see you, it's going to be, you're going to have a warrant issued for your arrest. You're going to come over dressed in orange or whatever classification color they put you in. Either you're going to make bond or not. And we're going to have a hearing on the allegations that are in the motion. I had better start seeing progress, and there'll be no more out-of-state family trips for you until I see progress. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you need?
No, ma'am.
Is there anything that you do not understand?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, probation. You're welcome. All right, if everyone could please whisper, we're on the record. The court is calling 2022 CR 11923B, State of Texas versus Pedro Jesus Alonso. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Adam Ford for the defendant, Your Honor.
And are you Mr. Alonso?
Yeah.
Oh, I know, yeah, is not Spanish. So either you're going to be speaking in Spanish or you're going to speak in English.
Said yo, like I in Spanish.
Yo.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Daniel, for representing Mr. Alonso.
Well, no, I think that's where the confusion happened.
I said, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sometimes there's confusion, but hey, de nada. All right. So you're Pedro Jesus Alonso?
Yes.
All right. And we have an interpreter here. If you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. You can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Norma Nero.
All right. Mr. Alonso, all of these documents are in English. Were those reviewed with you and your in Spanish?
Yes.
And do you understand all of the documents?
Yes.
All right, counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, we reviewed with my client.
All right, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Alonso, did you review the document entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes.
All right. Did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Your Honor, we're proceeding on count one and waiving count two.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Alonso, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney in Spanish? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of aggravated kidnapping? That's a first-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand if the court were to aggravated? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alonso, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
According to the plea bargain agreement, state is proceeding on count one. There's a $500 fine, affirmative finding of deadly weapon. State recommends deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration grand jury number 785003, JN number 2096686. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Outside the plea bargain agreement, the state is asking that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 10 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 120 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to count one, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State any evidence?
State offer states exhibit one in all attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments. Court has reviewed the same. The court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. And the court is aware from previous hearings with co-defendant the reason behind the state making this offer. All right. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, I did tell him about the consequences that if any violation of probation, if you do grant probation, he could be sentenced up to 99 years in prison. And he understood that very clearly, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Alonso, are you employed?
No.
How old are you?
19.
So how do you support yourself?
Well, I used to have a job. I used to work with my sister's husband.
So you're supporting yourself by working with your sister's husband?
Sí,
Yes,
And what do you do for them?
landscape.
I cut grass, landscaping.
How far did you go in school?
Um,
11th,
Do you have any children?
no,
All right. This is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to a $500 fine, 10 years deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon. Take in consideration grand jury number 7850003, Jan number 2096686. There's to be no contact with Benito Lopez. If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be? And know that you're getting a drug test today.
positive.
What are you going to be positive for?
Hmm?
Ecstasy. I think he said ecstasy. THC.
THC.
All right. Anything else?
No,
You're not allowed to do drugs while you're on probation. And in Texas, marijuana is still a drug and it's illegal. Do you understand?
yes,
So I'm going to want UAs. We're going to do the hotline, have them test for levels. And he needed to be tested at least once a week. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. I'm going to want field visits one time per month. And that will be until he presents a negative UA. And I'm going to want 90 sober meetings in 90 days. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Yes, we can still do a TAP evaluation. All right, Mr. Alonso, is there anything else you need from the court to be successful in this probation?
no,
All right, we can go off the record. In this court, in order to be successful on probation, communication is key. You need to make sure you report. If there is an issue that you feel probation is not addressing, you can come to the court. Do you understand?
okay,
All right, you say you're working for your sister and her husband.
yes,
Do you love your sister?
yes,
How much do you love your sister?
a lot.
All right, this is the reason why I asked you that question. Because you and your friend decided to build your happiness off somebody else's misery. You had people who wanted to come to the United States and you're up there holding them hostage for $800. I'm sure the only reason why you're being given deferred is because no one knows where Mr. Lopez is. But you need to think of this. What if your sister were in this position and she ran across somebody like you who brings her here and then won't let her leave until they pay $800? And you know, these people didn't have $800 to pay you. So you need to go forth thinking about that. And every time you think about doing something wrong and building your happiness off somebody's misery, you need to look at your sister who you love mucho and think, what if somebody were preying on her the way you preyed on these people? Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, and what's the tattoo on your neck? That's a big tattoo.
It's an angel.
All right, why is the angel saying shh? Or is it holding its cheek?
I got it done because my grandfather passed away.
Okay, was it painful?
No,
All right, well, good luck to you. Don't go forth in the world and do good. Stop doing wrong. You understand? Because karma always brings it back around. And we'll do a transfer to Dallas County. You are not transferred to Dallas County until probation lets you know that you're approved for transfer. Do you understand?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. It's always great seeing you.
Likewise.